The rules of the party intended to be an expeditious thing. It's a nonsense when people suggest that anybody would hang around. But as you know, I don't comment on the substance of it.
Who would be the first person you would tell once you received 48?
Would be the Prime Minister.
The Brexiteers within Theresa May's cabinet that have stayed on, the ones that haven't quit, like Esther McVey and Dominic Raab, they're meant to be meeting shortly in Parliament. That's the likes of Andrea Leadsom and we think Penny Mordaunt, the so-called pizza club of Brexiteers. They are going to talk about what more the Prime Minister could try to get out of Brussels. But the Prime Minister, she thinks this is now closed. She is going to be at the CBI later on trying to sell this deal to the British public and to business.
Well, tell us a little bit more, Vincent, about what we're expecting from Theresa May when she meets those UK business leaders.
Well, Theresa May will be speaking about an hour from now. She's going to be saying that this deal delivers on what people voted for in 2016, the key issues like taking back control of laws and particularly the borders. The UK will shift, she says, to a high-skilled immigration system. It'll be about bringing in people from all over the world, no prioritisation from those from EU countries, and sort of re-establishing links with Commonwealth countries, the likes of Australia, New Zealand, countries in Africa, and as well a new trade deal with America that the Prime Minister hopes will be able to help her through those difficult months next year coming out of the EU. But what people there will be saying is, well, really, what is going to happen to supply chains, complex supply chains, deliveries through ports like Calais, which are going to be pretty badly affected. They will want to know from the Prime Minister what the planning is for no deal if she can't, as it seems on the parliamentary maths, get this deal through. Well, what happens in the event that on the 29th of March 2019 we simply crash out of the EU? What will stop the motorways around the ports just simply becoming car parks? So the Prime Minister has had some warm words this morning from the CBI. That was in a leaked plan of the PRing for any possible deal. It was mentioned on this day she would go to the CBI and hopefully she would get support from the organisation. They have welcomed the Prime Minister's plan and say it is the only workable one that's come to light, and we now need to back that if it's a choice between that and hard Brexit. But I think the Prime Minister will be facing some tough questions from business leaders about the detail of her plans.
All right, thank you very much. Vincent McAviney there in London. And let's cross over for the EU side of things to Maeve McMahon, who is outside a meeting of EU ministers in Brussels. They, of course, have been discussing, amongst other things, Brexit, and we are expecting the EU's chief negotiator, Michel Barnier, to hold a press conference soon. But before that, we'll talk to Maeve. Maeve, do you have any word of what's been on the agenda this morning in that meeting behind you?
Well, Brexit, in a nutshell, it's the first time that foreign affairs ministers and European affairs ministers get together, if you like, to discuss this divorce agreement. And who captured the atmosphere very well this morning? Only the Europe minister from Austria. He said a very painful week in European politics is kicking off. He said 45 years of what was a very painful marriage is under discussion today. He fully